tell us the story of how you and Freya broke up after the PE exam. Back in year 12 or whatever, year 13, when I was in sixth form doing my A-levels, obviously I was dating Freya, and I dated Freya since December of that year. I did the exams in May. So me and Freya had been dated from December to May. But prior to that happened, you know, I mentioned that I went to the hospital. One day at sixth form, I was chilling in IT. I just didn't feel too good. I was like, wait, I'm not feeling that great. So I got up and said, I'm gonna go home, because obviously it's in sixth form, a bit more freedom. You can do more things like that. You can just leave. And yeah, so I drove home from sixth form, got in, and straight up passed out onto my bed and felt awful. And then for 2 weeks, I could barely leave my bed, because if I stood up, I felt sick. And after 2 weeks, my dad was like, yeah, you probably should go to like hospital, because this ain't right. Like, surely you should have been recovered by now. It's been over 2 weeks, so it's been a week or so. Like, you should go to hospital, because something's not right. Like, whenever I try to stand up, I literally would feel like I'm gonna like vomit. I wasn't eating, I wasn't doing anything. So yeah, so I went to hospital, and then they did a quick urine test and a blood test. Big graph from here on in. There was a lot of blood in my urine, and blood test was looking a bit interesting as well. So after more tests, etc., they said basically you got some kind of kidney infection. Essentially, I had a throat infection, spread to my kidneys. Part of that actually as well, my whole face puffed up. Like, my eyes are really like swollen. Looks like I've been in a huge fight. Obviously not bruised, but I was all swollen up. But during that time, I was dating Freya. But for some reason, I don't know. Maybe I was just being weird, but I didn't want Freya to see me like that for some reason. I just didn't want her to see me like all messed up. Even though she said like, oh yeah, let me come visit you. Let me come see you. So during that time, we obviously distanced and grew further and further apart. And then straight after that, obviously, I was going straight into my A-level exams. So me and Freya didn't talk as much. Even though we was dating, we wasn't talking as much. We wasn't even seeing each other. And I was just trying to recover from this whole thing and get better, whilst at least revising for exams to not fail my A-levels, because obviously I went to go to university. And yeah, so straight up, I mean, after a PE exam, it wasn't anything interesting. We just texted and said, it ain't working, is it really? Like, should we just like call it there? It ain't working. So we called it. We just said, you know what? It ain't working. Like, it was a mutual agreement. It wasn't like, oh, you're a prick, oh, you're all this. It was very simple, like, yeah, you've been ill, you got your exams, there's a lot on your plate right now. Like, let's just call it off, because obviously clearly it ain't working, we've grown apart, like, we're barely even talking anymore. And yeah, and then by September, October, we got back together. So, decent really. That's the story. It's not that interesting, I don't think, but yeah, a very weird time. I appreciate talking about Freya's channel in the past, so I might hear it again from Josh. Yeah, well, you heard it.